Welcome to Superhuman Customs, everybody. I'm your host, Stephen Human. This is the channel where we just customize action figures. Today we've got one that's gonna be a little bit of fun. I got this is Wonder Woman from Flashpoint, I believe. I got her, I don't know, 3 years ago. And the only reason I got her was for her hair, because I used the hair that came off the back of her helmet here on the recovery suit Superman that I did a long time ago. So she's just been in the collection. I don't really care about this figure at all. But I realized that I've got these wings from a Hawkman that I turned into, I think it was Lion-O. So I've got these wings. We're gonna turn her into Hawkwoman. Now Hawkwoman is different from Hawkgirl. Hawkgirl, you know, Justice League and all that stuff. Hawkwoman tends to be from Thanagar and generally is very armored. Sometimes has hair, sometimes doesn't have hair. So this is a really great body to use for a Hawkwoman because she has tons of different costumes, most of them armored in different ways. So this works really, really well. So we are gonna take this Wonder Woman and turn her into Hawkwoman. I drilled holes in her back, which was tougher than you would think. And I cut these a little bit so that they would fit, because there wasn't as much space. So now they fit in there, and we'll either glue them in place or I'd rather have them be able to move, but I don't think we're gonna be able to because her back was so small and I didn't want to damage her arms. So we'll figure it out. We might have to maybe I'll put some putty or something in there so that they'll stay, but they can still be movable. We'll figure it out. From here, this figure is going to be fairly straightforward. The great thing is that there's no one definitive version of Hawkwoman. She has a number of different costumes. I'm kind of basing the color scheme off of this one that you can see on the screen. It's a more modern version, and obviously she doesn't have the same armor at all, but I love the color scheme of just the golds and the blacks. What I'm going to do here, it's kind of fun because this Wonder Woman has a bird right here, right? Because her armor, Wonder Woman's armor is a bird when it comes down to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this black and then the circle red, which is exactly the Hawkman, Hawkgirl symbol, which is black and red. And at least from a color scheme, she's going to look pretty awesome. So that's what I'm going to do. And all of the silver is going to become gold. And then I'm going to keep the black as is. I'll probably do maybe a dry brush of some gunmetal gray just to make it look more metallic. But yeah, this is, at the end of the day, this is going to be fairly straightforward at this point. I was thinking about putting hair on her because in that version she has hair. A lot of versions she doesn't have hair. This head is a little bit too thin. I played around with a bunch of stuff. I even cut some hair off to see, because I would want to have some come out the front and the back. The head is a little bit too thin to actually get it so that it glues in right and stays, so I'm just not going to worry about that. And so yeah, that's what we're going to do. So some of the coloring is off. With gold, gold goes on very thinly, at least this gold that I've got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some brown wash. I'm going to go over the top of all of it in order to get it so that it has a more uniform coloring to it. And it'll give it a little bit more of a bronze. I don't know if I necessarily want this to be full-on gold. I would rather it be a bronze. And so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to try and get rid of some of these bubbles. Normally it doesn't bubble up quite so bad. Her armor is looking pretty good. It's got some nice textures to it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start painting the sign here, the hawk symbol from this Wonder Woman. And obviously on the Wonder Woman, it's got the like W sort of hawk symbol to it, bird symbol. But with the black and the red, it's very much going to look like a Thanagarian hawk symbol. So we're going to start with the black, then we'll do the red. And then at that point, we'll take a look and just kind of see where we're at and see if we want to do some other detail things or what's going to help this to really be a cool figure. What sort of details can we add that will be unique? Because obviously, this is not a specific version of Hawkwoman. It's got a color scheme that matches one that I found online that I like, but it is not anything specific. It's unique. And so I can do other things to it to make it even more unique that I want for when it's on my shelf. So we'll get this done, and then we'll take a look at that. Before I do the red, I'm going through and I'm looking at different accessories that we could use for her. Because since this is an original version and the Hawk characters on Thanagar, like Hawkwoman particularly, are law enforcement, I wanted to have, obviously I'm going to have, oh, where'd it go? I'm going to have this mace in her hand. So that's going to be one. But I want to have something like hanging off of her belt, like either some kind of weird laser gun or some kind of other thing that I can cut and put that just makes it look a little more technological. Because right now she does look very much, like medieval. And I do want to make her look a little bit more techno. So I think adding some of this stuff will help to do that. So just kind of looking through and seeing what I want to do, what I'm going to add here. And we will go from there. Got a couple things in place, and once we've done the red, I'll probably do a silver wash over the top of them just to see how they look, and then we might go with the gold. So the next big thing, and this is really going to make a huge difference, this red right here, because it's going to change the entire feel of the character, going from white here to red, and it'll match the boots that are already red. This is going to be a pretty cool change here. While all of that is drying, I'm thinking about the wings, and I'm probably going to do maybe, because it's already got kind of a sheen to them, and I didn't care for these wings on the Hawkman. And if you've seen the Hawkman video that I did from years ago, I actually took it and I made his wings normal. I made them the gray, like they were feathered wings. But with this one, she usually has metallic wings, so we're going to do metallic, but the brown here is just really beaten up. So the problem with this brown wash is that on some surfaces it does pretty well, on others it really beads up. Softer plastics, it has a problem. So maybe I'm just going to go, maybe I'll wipe this off and just go with the straight black. That's probably what I'll do. But I'm gonna highlight in between all of the feathers and then do a light dry brush of gold over the top, and it'll be nice and simple. We'll call it good at that point. And now with the wings, I'm just taking just getting some gold on there, going over the top. You can see how the wash really got in there nice. And I'm gonna hit a little bit on the brown here, just to give it a little bit of the gold, but not much. You can see, so you can see the difference. Maybe in this light, maybe yay, maybe nay. In any case, I can tell the difference. So I've got her wings attached. She's looking really good. She's a little bit too gold. I mean, the color scheme matches what is in that image, but it was broken up, I think, a little bit more here in the torso because the image was up here on the chest. And anyway, she still has more of a medieval armor look than I would like. And I don't really have any armor pieces left. I've used them all recently, either on, like King He-Man or some other ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. It's gold and it has some diamonds on it, this sheet bracelet from my daughters, and I'm going to glue it in place just to break up the chest. Again, this isn't any particular, version of Hawkwoman, and so I can get away with really anything that I want. And so I'm going to do that just to help break it up and make her look a little bit more, I don't know, just a little bit more interesting. And then I think we're going to call it. One of the problems I'm running into is that with everything being gold and bronze is that it really does stand out as being gold and bronze. And so it needs a little bit of black. Like when I added this, I was like, oh, the inner parts are gold, so perfect, it's gonna match. But having it match is not looking very good to me. So what I'm gonna do is I've got a really thin brush here, and I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna paint those black so that it breaks things up. And I'm also gonna paint the belt black. And I think that will help to break things up a little bit. I think if I were to do this again, I would paint the wings in the classic gray, but I really wanted to go with the Hawkwoman where she's got the golden wings. So I think this will help a little bit, but it is looking a little bit too gold and bronze to me, even though it does match a lot of the, the aesthetics that we were going for. But sometimes things don't quite have the look that you envisioned, and either you got to change them or you just got to roll with it. Now, you would have thought that I would have thought of this, when I first started, but I didn't. Hawkwoman usually has a beak that comes down. And I really did not think about this at all. Well, I realized that I had this Hawkman helmet that I cut the top out when I did the original mask on that Iron Man that I did, like the lifted up mask. I ended up pulling it off and doing a different thing after I did that video. But anyway, I have this, and I'm thinking about gluing this in place because I'd still be able to see her eyes. And then she really would be a classic Hawkwoman. So yeah, I'm thinking I will do this. I wish I'd thought of this from the beginning, but I didn't. Well, this really changes things, doesn't it? Like, I can't believe I didn't remember that I had this in here, and it'll never get used for another character other than a Hawk Girl. So this is pretty great. But what I'm going to do is the same thing that I did with the original Hawkman that I did when the Black Adam movie came out, is that I cut these down and then glued them in here so that they were smaller. I hated this look with these gigantic wings on the Hawkman, and I don't like it anymore now. So we're going to cut it down, put them in there, and then add some wash in here and a gold overlay, and then we'll be done. So it's surprising. I thought that she was 100% finished, and now, yeah, now she is definitely looking like Hawkwoman. This is pretty wild that I made such massive changes to her. Like even those one piece, it's like, okay, now it's full on Hawkwoman, and before it just wasn't, right? I mean, she has had helmets that didn't have ears and that were kind of like this, like really close to it, but they all had the beak. And that's why I think I kept looking at going like, if there's something missing, there's something missing. I didn't really realize that that's what was missing, is it didn't have the beak on the front. And then adding this, it's like, wow, this is really Hawkwoman now. So I'm just adding some brown wash, then I'll do a light coating of gold over the top, and it should match everything else. And then we'll be finished. I'm really glad that I looked in there. I realized I was like, oh, she doesn't have a beak. Maybe I got something in the head drawer where I keep all my extra heads. And I saw this and was like, oh, wow, okay, well, if there was ever a piece that was meant to go on a Hawkwoman, it's this one. So I'm glad that I did it. Now, this is a really interesting one because it could have gone in any number of different ways from what I chose. I mean, obviously, originally, I wasn't even thinking of putting the mask on her. I forgot that I even had it. And when I realized, oh, she normally has a beak, I could have cut the beak from this. I could have cut the beak from, something else, from a piece of cape or something. I could have done things differently, and I could have done different color schemes. And this is a really great one because the body wasn't necessarily any one version of Hawkwoman. There's like 36 versions of Hawkwoman that you can look up, and then Hawk Girl on top of that. So it's like, there's a lot of things you could do. And this was just what I ended up doing. I was looking at other pictures of her last night, and I was like, oh, I could have done this, and I could have done this. And if I were starting over from scratch after having done her and finished her, I might make some different decisions. But that's the thing that's fun about this hobby, is that we can always do it again if we want to. And sometimes it's like, oh, well, this is a character that, I don't necessarily care about, but I do think she turned out pretty good. And I could do it again in a completely different way. So you make it the way that you want to make it. You make your definitive Hawkwoman, and maybe she is exactly comic accurate depending on whatever appearance she was in. Because man, Google Hawkwoman, holy crap. There is a lot of different uniforms and armors and wing colors and all that sort of stuff. It is madness. And so pretty much you can do anything and get away with it. And that's what I chose to do here. So she will look great on the shelf with Hawkman and the other DC figures that I've customized. And I'm excited to place her there with the others. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. Feel free to give me tips. Obviously, I do things in a certain way that I enjoy, and it's not necessarily how other people enjoy it, and that's just fine. I hope you guys are enjoying it, customizing your figures in the way that you want to, that brings you joy, because that's why we have hobbies. Thank you for watching again. I'm Stephen Human. Check out StephenHumanAuthor.com if you want to read some good science fiction, because I am a science fiction novelist, and I'll see all of you very soon.